Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Reserved Investments. Since I'm currently on the topic of video games and related collectibles, as that's what I've been making some videos on recently, I figured I would go right into this topic right from the start. And this subject of this video is going to be on speculators, investors, and collectors in regards to limited run games and what's happening on the secondary market in regards to limited run games releases. For those that don't know, Limited Run Games was created in 2015, so it's only really a 4-year-old company. And what they do is they bring digital-only video game releases to physical form for systems such as PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, and Nintendo Switch. Before we go any further, I must admit I am a huge fan of their products, okay? I also own a lot of their products, and I just think that they have done something revolutionary to the market in this regard. If you're a fan of any of the digital games that they produce, getting them in physical form, the way that they produce them, I mean, they're beautiful. This is a copy of Double Switch for the PlayStation 4. And as you can see, it looks, for those of you not familiar with limited run games, this looks exactly like a full retail release, because pretty much it is a full retail release. They also make incredible, and I have one here as an example, collector's editions games. One of my favorite games for the original TurboGrafx 16 CD system was Ys Book 1 and 2. Well, I was so excited when they announced that they were doing Ys Origin that I actually bought the collector's edition of it, and I just had it graded through VGA, Video Game Authority. And this came back in Near Mint Plus, okay, an 85 plus condition. It's just, they make a beautiful product, okay? What I'm here to address, though, is not the beauty of their products, and not that if you're a fan you should buy the products. I mean, if you're already a fan, if you're watching this video, chances are you've heard of limited run games and you're already either a fan, a critic, or some type of enthusiast out there that either loves their products or loathes them in some way. Okay? I'm making this video to talk to the speculators, the collectors, and the investors who are thinking that a lot of this stuff is going to be worth a lot of money in the future. Because in most cases, you guys are dead wrong, okay? And that's what I want to address today. There seems to be somewhat of a small, it used to be a lot larger, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, speculator market surrounding a lot of limited run games, more popular releases. For instance, I remember when they did Night Trap, which I'm a huge fan of the full motion video Sega games because I had a lot of that stuff when I was in high school. So Night Trap really is a game that I have a love affair with because I play it constantly when I had it. It was either that or Mortal Kombat when I had my Sega Genesis. So I was always a fan when they released Night Trap for the PlayStation 4. I did get a copy, but it sold out pretty quickly. And I know there was a lot of anger on the message forums, on a lot of the message boards and online forums for video game collectors saying that, you know, they should have did this as a pre-order so that everybody could get a copy of Night Trap for the PlayStation 4. Well, Limited Run Games did listen to the criticism, and they did eventually re-release it for the PC, and they also released a Nintendo Switch version, which was available for pre-order, so if you pre-ordered it, you were guaranteed a copy. Now, the problem is, a lot of people are assuming just because it's limited run, meaning they do only a run of certain games, and certain titles they only do a limited run of 1,000, 2,000, up to, I think, 5,000 copies of a game, unless if it's available for pre-order. Then they do allow, for as long as the pre-order window is open, they allow everybody to order a copy who wants one in that time. Then they cut off production, okay? They also did, and this is a side topic, sign an agreement with Best Buy to get some of their titles in a limited fashion on store shelves. And we're talking a very small amount because I have like 2 or 3 local Best Buy stores, and I think they have 1 or 2 copies of each game, and each store varies by what game they carry and how many copies they have. It's that low, okay? But the point that I'm making is when they first came out, one of their first releases, one of them was called Saturday Morning RPG, and it was for the PlayStation 4. Excellent game, and if you want to play it, you can probably still download it from the PlayStation Store because all their titles are based on digital releases. They're just creating a physical copy, okay, to serve the collecting community who wants that type of physical release. Well, Saturday Morning RPG came out, and I think it was either $29 or $39.99 on their website, okay? Today, you can still buy it on the secondary market if you want a factory sealed copy. It goes, prices on eBay range anywhere from $70 all the way up to $90. So anywhere in there. So you got to look at this from a standpoint though. That game was one of their first releases. And honestly, very few people at that time knew about limited run games back in 2015, okay? Today, everybody knows about limited run games. And back in 2015, 2016, even part of 2017, they were only releasing really 1 to 2 games a month. So they were releasing about 12 to 24 games a year. In fact, you can Google limited run games, and a Wikipedia page will list every release that they've created up until now, which I think is incredible. You can also visit they have an awesome website and store online as well. Another topic entirely. But the thing that I want to comment on, I think a lot of speculators are making the mistake that they have to own every single limited run games release. And believe it or not, in 2015, 2016, even 2017, that was an obtainable goal. I mean, if they're releasing 12 to 24 games a month, yeah, if you're paying 30 or 40 bucks a game, you can do that twice a month. I mean, the average person can afford that. The problem is now they've gotten so much larger and so much more popular that they're releasing, I mean, it just blows my mind. I mean, I'm seeing 5 releases a month, 8 releases a month. I mean, it's insane the amount of games that they're releasing. In fact, they just put out an E3 video on some of their upcoming releases. They're even going to start releasing some of the classic Star Wars games that were released, I think, on the PlayStation 2, which is amazing when you think about it, because now even LucasArts is involved in granting them the exclusivity to re-release some of these titles. So they have gotten very big. So I keep hearing a lot of negativity on the message boards and the online forums where people are saying, well, this isn't right. I can't afford all these releases. They should cut back on what they're releasing. Well, to give credit where limited run games is, they're serving a market, okay? You don't have to buy their games. You can download them on the PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PC, whatever platform digital games are available for download, you can download these same games on. If you want a physical copy of the game, though, that's where limited run games comes in, okay? Now, where I caution most speculators and hardcore collectors is, there's a lot of talk, well, gee, if I want to keep my collection current, I have to buy every single release that they're putting out there because I don't know what's going to be valuable in the secondary market. So I got to turn this around a little bit. Why are you concerned over what game's going to be worth money in the future on the secondary market if you're buying to collect? Okay? I said in my first introduction video when I debuted this channel to YouTube, I'm a hardcore collector, speculator, and investor in the antiques and collectibles trade. That includes video games. That's where I got my start. So I got to ask this question. You got to understand, a very large portion of limited run releases are not going to carry a significant value on the secondary market. And I know some of you guys, if this video gets more than 5 views, some of you, who knows what the YouTube algorithm, right? But some of you guys are going to leave in the comments, this game goes for this much, Sean. This game's going for this much. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, the problem is you got to compare it based on how many releases they've already made and what's currently in the pipeline to come out. Yes, some of these games will go up in value. There's no doubt about it. But if that's your primary motive, and you order 1 or 2 of every single one of their releases, you're not going to do yourself any financial favors. You're going to do limited run games a huge financial favor, but you're not going to do yourself any. Because chances are, again, as the years go on, one of the things that's happening in the vintage video game market, and I'm even encompassing the newer systems when I say this, because let's face it, 10, 20 years from now, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation Vita, they're all going to be considered vintage video game systems, okay? There's an incorrect ideology that because something is released in limited quantities or in limited run amounts, that it's going to be rare and highly sought after in the future. And I'm seeing this happen in all collecting fields, especially pop culture based. I mean, Lego, I'm doing another video on Lego on this pretty soon. Lego has this problem as well, where people are going, well, they only made 2,000 copies or 3,000. It's going to be rare and highly sought after. Please do not confuse this with what's happening in the vintage, current vintage video game scene with games like stadium events, Nintendo World Championships. They are in a whole other caliber. The reason why they're highly rare and sought after is due to the amount of nostalgia and the fact that you could not download a copy of Nintendo World Championships back in 1988. You couldn't download a copy of Stadium Events down in 1987, okay? It was something iconic that just came out and took the market by storm, okay? And that's why a lot of people my age have a fond attachment and memory to Nintendo. That nostalgia, that feeling of being a child again and discovering that for the first time is very real. That's not going to happen with these type of releases, okay? If anything, what's going to happen is the way that the video game market is currently going, and this is going to affect the vintage video game market, trust me, okay? These games are already available for download on your PlayStation 4, your Nintendo Switch, your PlayStation Vita, what have you. In the future, that's going to be even more common than it is today. So if somebody wants to play a copy of Double Switch, all they're going to do is need to boot up their PlayStation 5, PlayStation 6, PlayStation 7, heck, I'll even say it, PlayStation X, PlayStation 10 or X, whatever it's going to be called, okay? Most likely, that's how they're going to play their games. Very few people are going to want a complete set of every single PlayStation 4 game ever made, along with the limited run series as well. And I say that separately because I don't consider limited run games to be part of a full retail set of games. It's something different because of the way that it was produced and put out and the quantities made, okay? So I caution a lot of speculators who are speculating in this stuff to be very careful if you're doing it solely out of financial gain or expectation of financial gain. And if you don't believe me, you can go on eBay, check sold listings, not completed, not current, check sold listings, and just start looking up some of their releases and seeing what they're going for. Look at the used price as well as the factory sale price. And that's important because a lot of people that are buying this, you have two types of people. You have people that almost every release they make, they buy two copies, one to open and one to keep sealed, okay? And that's fine, nothing against them if they're buying to collect. However, if you guys, again, are buying this with the expectation that this is going to go up in value, I will honestly caution you because not all their games are going to. Yes, there's going to be some that do go up in value. There's going to be some, the minute they're released, they're highly sought after on the secondary speculative market, okay? It's already happening, okay? But for the vast majority of games, if you look, they're not doing that well on the secondary market, okay? If anything, if I were to put this on eBay, okay, I think I paid $29.99 or $34.99. Most of their releases for the standard versions are anywhere from 30 to 40 bucks, okay? If I were to put this on eBay right now, guarantee you I could get my money back. But after you factor in eBay fees, PayPal fees, shipping costs, I would have lost money if I would sell this right now, okay? There just isn't the amount of demand there, and that's not going to continue in the future. Okay, you got to understand, a game like Double Switch, the original version was not released on the PlayStation 4. The original version, if you want for this, came out in the Sega CD in the 90s, okay? There's another version also on the Saturn for this, and it was also available as a digital download, which is how it became a limited run title, okay? So you can always download it too. You don't need a limited run game to play the actual game. It's already available in digital form, okay? So I just want to caution a lot of collectors out there who are assuming this stuff is going to be highly sought after in the future because there's no guarantee. Okay, even this, okay? I graded this because I really have an emotional attachment to the E-Series, okay? I did not do this out of financial investment, okay? It's kind of funny, and I will tell you this. I've been offered 200 bucks for this, okay? Now here's the thing you got to understand. I'll just divulge this. I think the collector's edition of this was either 60 or 65 bucks, okay? I then paid shipping on top of that. I then had to ship it to VGA and pay to have it graded. For those that you aren't aware, I don't know what you guys know about VGA grading. This is actually a custom case, okay? This is not a standard case. It must have costed me, I think, $55 to have this graded. So all in all, I probably have $120, $125 invested in this thing. For me to sell it for $200 and make $75, some of you are probably saying, well, that's a nice return, Sean. It is, but it's really not worth it to do that at the moment. So I keep it. I also have, like I said, a strong emotional attachment to it. And I did buy a copy to play as well. That's not the collector's edition, okay? I just want to put that out there. Another thing I want to quick talk about, because it ties into this a little bit, is a lot of people are talking about set collecting. Like in the future, people are going to want every single PlayStation 4 game made, or every single Nintendo Switch game made. I don't see that happening, okay? A lot of full-run video game collecting ended with a lot of the vintage systems. There are some oddball collectors out there that collect like every game ever made for the Nintendo Wii, okay? Personally, I don't recommend anybody do that. Reason being is, first of all, you don't have an emotional attachment to every single Wii game ever released. Number two, a lot of the games that came out for a lot of those systems, like the Wii, even like more popular systems like the Xbox 360, Xbox One, even the PlayStation 2, a lot of them, there's a lot of shovelware, what I call crap games, okay? I don't know about you, but when I collect something, I want it to have meaning in my collection, whether it be an emotional attachment, whether it be proud that I own it. Like if you have a copy of Stadium Events for the original NES, that's an iconic item. I want it to have some type of value in my collection. So I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but collecting a full set of games that came out for a system was never my goal. It's not something I do. I just want the games that I like and the games that I feel are most memorable for that set system, okay? So I just want to close out this video and just say, just be very careful going forward, as we don't know how people are going to collect, if even they're going to pursue PlayStation 4 games, Nintendo Switch games, PlayStation Vita games, and what they're going to want to buy. But just be cautious, those of you that are pouring all your money into multiple copies of limited run games, because if you're claiming you're doing it for financial investment, I'm here to tell you, a lot of you guys are going to be very sorry, okay? I hope you enjoyed this video. I thank you for liking, subscribing, viewing, commenting on this video, and I look forward to your feedback. Thank you, and have a great day.